Hello, my name is Amanda Fugate Moss. I am an actor, a writer, and a producer. In 2015, I ended up taking care of my grandparents full time for 2 years, and I learned about being a home healthcare aide. And something that I learned that was so important was that there was so much information and so many things I didn't understand and I couldn't relate to because I hadn't gone through it. But also things that if I could just get it out there and get it shared, could help people. Because if there's anything I learned, it was that the more prepared we were, and I was, the better off we were because when something would go wrong, we were prepared in other areas. And so we were able to handle things and be able to take care of them comfortably. So they were okay. Um, so I created a show during COVID called Driving the Daisies. It's a series and it's about educating the population and, as well as entertaining and just getting some pertinent information out there. And we are on our crowdfunding now. And so it's exciting. But I've also been doing live events where I've raised funds. And now we've moved to the computer. But one of the things I learned was that it takes time. I mean, it's not like a just drop in the hat. It takes a lot of time to make sure that we're prepared and that we have all of our funding that we need for our budget. And I decided that in the meantime, I still needed to get some information out there that I really think can help people. And so, like I said, I've done some live events and now I'm doing some videos because I want to get to as many people as I can and get as much information out as I can. So this is this is my first video. And this video is all about I'm going to keep talking as I share my screen. This video is all about putting your kit together. I call it a kit. And the reason, so it's just a folder of information that you need. That's very, very important. And the sooner you get this done, the better, because a lot of times things happen. They happen very, very quickly. And if you don't have this paperwork, you're shuffling trying to get it. Or if something happens, my grandpa, for instance, had dementia. So we had to get all the paperwork done at the very beginning when he was still coherent and he still understood everything that was going on. So I call this group of videos and my live talks things I learned being a caretaker. So the first thing we're going to talk about with the kit or the folder of information to begin with, they're all original documents. So it is very, very, very important to keep them in a safe, dry place. When you go to facilities and stuff, or if you have to turn in paperwork, some companies require the originals. If they require the originals and you take them in, let them make a photocopy and get them back. Other companies will let you just make a photocopy and send it in to them. So you just have to adhere to whatever their restrictions are. But you want to keep those originals, keep them in a safe, dry place because if anything happens to them, you have to get them redone. You don't have any way to have the originals back, right? So you want to keep those in a safe, dry place. All right, so let's look at our kit. So the first thing in there, DNR, do not resuscitate. Sometimes it's part of an advanced directive, sometimes it's not. For my grandparents, they did a separate DNR. And so what we did is that they filled it out, we took care of it. It got pinned up on a cork board in the office, which meant that if anything happened and something did happen to our family, where to one of my grandparents, and it was very quick, I was able to just grab it right off that board and you hand it to the ambulance drivers. So you want to keep that somewhere that's really easy to grab. So the DNR, I'm going to go over all the definitions in a little bit. I'm not an attorney, so I pulled up legal definitions from the internet. Number two is an advanced directive. You want to have an advanced directive that has to do with medical. It goes by a lot of different names. So you have advanced directive. It might be called a living will. Do not get that confused with a living trust. We'll talk about those later. but with a living will that has to do with medical. It might also be called a durable power of attorney for health, or it might be called a healthcare representative, where that person chooses one person to work with their doctor and they make the medical decisions. Whereas with like the advanced directive or living will and all that, everything's spelled out with what the person wants. Okay. The next form is called the durable power of attorney. This has to do with financial. And then the last thing would be either a last will and testament or a living trust. All right. So let's look at some of these definitions. So definitions are provided by the National Cancer Institute. So do not resuscitate order is a legal document in which a person or their proxy states that their healthcare providers should not use cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, if that person's heart or breathing stops. So they made that decision ahead of time, and that's their wishes. All right. Again, sometimes that is part of the advance directive. So again, an advance directive might be called an advance directive. It might be called a living will. It might be called a durable power of attorney for medical, or it might be called, or it might be a healthcare representative who is chosen. It's a legal document that states a person's wishes about receiving medical care if that person is no longer able to make medical decisions because of a serious illness or injury. Again, they're different forms. You pick the one that works best for yourself or for the person that you're working with that they want, and then go through that. These forms you can find online. I use a company called Stevens Ness, Stevens, Stevens Ness, Ness. Make sure you're on their website and you can order forms. And what I like about them is that you pick the state you're in, and then they send you the form for that state, which I think is really good because each state has their own rules and regulations. All right. Sometimes also, if your person ends up in a hospital, or even if they end up in a medical care facility, like a home or intensive care, anything like that, the hospitals and the living care facilities and the nursing homes, if you ask them, they usually can provide this form for you. So they will have the form for you, and then you just need to have a notary come in and notarize it. All right. The next thing is called the durable power of attorney. This has to do with finances. It's a legal document that gives one person the authority to make medical, legal, or financial decisions for another person. Now, again, if it's a durable power of attorney for medical, it should say that at the top of the form. You can also read the form and make sure. Or you might have a durable power of attorney for finances. And they even have some durable power of attorneys, which include medical and finances. Generally, I find those forms come from attorneys that create the form that include everything on it. You just need to read very carefully which form you're using. All right. And that's making the medical decisions. All right. Next form that you want to have in your kit. You either want a last will and testament or a living trust. So definition, while a last will and a living trust both lay out how to transfer your assets and personal property after your death, there are some key differences. An estate plan attorney can also advise which might meet your needs better. Again, if you have any questions or you don't understand anything, it's a really good idea to speak to an attorney. That's what they do, right? So a will is a legal document in which a person states what is to be done with his or her property after death, who is to carry out the terms of the will, and who is to care for any minor children, if any are involved. A living trust is a legal document in which a person states what is to be done with his or her property after death. From my understanding, living trusts also deal with people alive before they pass on. There are many types of trusts, and a trust may take the place of a will. Again, you want to talk to an attorney. They'd be able to guide you better on that and give you that information. All right, so that's my first video. Get your kit together, get that all in place, have it in a safe, dry, secure place, and make sure you take very good care of that paperwork. All right, so this was things I learned being a caretaker, or my first video. If you'd like to find out more information about driving the Daisies, you can follow us. We have a link tree. It's right there on the screen. And that includes all of our sites with all the driving the Daisies information and gives you a breakdown of it, and has our promotional video on it. And then we also have a donate GoFundMe if you're interested in donating to help us get our pilot episode filmed. So that link is right there too. All right.